Welcome to another AI pattern recognition deep dive.
Today, we're really cutting through the noise to get you well informed on a truly visionary concept.
Mhm.
Imagine an AI, one that isn't just about, streamlining your tasks or keeping you entertained, but one that actively empowers your growth, your wisdom, and yeah, your holistic well-being. We're talking about the Appreciate Life AI, or ALA framework. It's a bold new vision for tech designed to help you flourish. We've gathered a fascinating collection of research, articles, some internal notes even, from this framework. And our mission today, well, it's to distill the most impactful nuggets of insight for you.
Yeah, and what's truly groundbreaking here, I think, is that this isn't merely about creating like a smarter tool. It's much more ambitious. It's about meticulously architecting a digital environment, literally from the ground up, specifically designed to cultivate deep, meaningful, and hopefully lasting human flourishing. So we're going to explore the core principles guiding its design, everything from the data it uses, its ultimate algorithmic objectives, and really how it fundamentally reshapes your interactions with technology.
Okay, let's unpack this then, because it feels like the very purpose of technology is undergoing a profound shift here. And this framework, it highlights a clear evolution in design philosophy, right? It didn't just appear out of nowhere.
Indeed. No, it didn't. This journey, it really began with what's called positive computing.
Mhm.
Now, this emerged from a critical realization. You know what? Technology brought immense convenience, huge efficiency gains, its actual impact on our well-being, often ambiguous, sometimes, frankly, detrimental. So positive computing fundamentally challenged the tech industry. It asked, are we just making people efficient, or are we truly helping them flourish?
Right. So recognizing that true well-being isn't just about avoiding harm, like preventing negative side effects, it's about actively fostering positivity.
Precisely. It proposed designing technology with human wisdom and well-being as primary drivers.
Yeah.
That's key. Moving beyond just utility or, simple user satisfaction. This meant drawing from positive psychology to actively foster things like positive emotions, motivation, empathy. And crucially, supporting our basic psychological needs, our sense of autonomy, competence, and deep relatedness to others. It was honestly a radical shift in perspective back then.
That's a powerful foundation. And then from there, the focus broadened, you mentioned, to AI for social good or AI for good. How did that expand the vision?
Right. So AI for social good took these individual well-being principles and basically scaled them up. Scaled them to address larger societal missions. Think tackling global challenges like the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Things like ensuring inclusivity, sustainability, ethical governance. The implication for ALAI here is significant. It cannot be a tool solely for the privileged. That's a core tenet. It must actively work to democratize access to well-being for everyone, bridging existing digital and social divides.
Okay, so if positive computing gave us the how for individual well-being and AI for good gave us the what, like the societal impact, where does that leave ALAI's ultimate objective? What's the big why?
All of this, yeah, it culminates in the profound ultimate objective for ALI, human flourishing. So while positive computing provided the methodological how for designing for well-being, and AI for good outlined the what in terms of societal goals, human flourishing provides the definitive why. It's defined as a state in which all aspects of a person's life are good. Yeah, that moves beyond just subjective happiness, feeling good in the moment. It embraces a holistic eudaimonic life of meaning, self-realization, and the fulfillment of one's full potential. It's really about cultivating your virtues and realizing, well, the best within us.
That's a really comprehensive goal, almost dauntingly so, but how do we even begin to measure something so broad?
That's a fair question. The framework wisely operationalizes it. It breaks it down into 7 distinct measurable components. It draws from something called the Flourishing AI benchmark, and these are mental and physical health, happiness and life satisfaction, meaning and purpose, character and virtue, also close social relationships, financial and material stability, and interestingly, faith and spirituality. ALAI is designed to provide balanced support across all of them. It understands that, optimizing one at the expense of another won't lead to true flourishing. It has to be holistic.
It's tempting, though, isn't it, to think AI could just sort of make us happy. But the report introduces this really intriguing concept, synthetic happiness. What does that mean here?
Yeah, synthetic happiness. It refers to well-being that's actively facilitated or perhaps enhanced by AI. You can almost imagine it as a synthetic happiness pyramid. It has 5 hierarchical layers. At the very base, ALI supports your fundamental needs. Think digital security, financial stability, basic stuff. Moving up, it bolsters your physical and mental health. The next layer focuses on AI-enhanced social connections, Above that, you find mindfulness and AI-assisted gratitude practices. And right at the apex, that's AI-facilitated personal growth and purpose. So it suggests a structured way AI can contribute to well-being, kind of step by step.
That tiered approach makes a lot of sense, actually, breaking it down. But with AI playing such an intimate role, what are the potential pitfalls? Are there risks of becoming, I don't know, too reliant?
That is a crucial question. Absolutely. The primary danger with this idea of synthetic happiness is indeed over-reliance. Over-reliance on artificial systems. This could potentially reduce genuine human interaction, maybe displace real-world relationships, and it could even erode your own resilience, your innate capacity for problem solving. So ALAI isn't meant to be like a permanent crutch or the source of your well-being.
Right. So it's definitely not about outsourcing your happiness to an algorithm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
ALAI must function as a catalyst. That's the word they use. Creating the optimal conditions, providing the critical insights under which authentic, self-generated flourishing can occur. It acts kind of like a sophisticated mirror reflecting your life's patterns back at you, and maybe a wise compass, gently pointing towards growth. Its ultimate success isn't measured by your dependence on the system, interestingly. It's measured by your growing independence from it. By teaching you to recognize the patterns of your own life, it empowers you to navigate them with wisdom and purpose, entirely on your own terms.
That's a fascinating objective. It's technology designed to make itself obsolete in a way. But okay, let's get practical. How would a system like this actually know all these intricate details about you, from your daily habits to, I guess, your deepest aspirations? What kind of data are we talking about?
Right, the data. The foundation is a sophisticated, multimodal data fusion. It draws from a real-time data ecosystem. Think of it as collecting layers upon layers of information about you. You've got wearable sensors, IoT devices tracking your heart rate, sleep cycles, activity levels, respiration, even environmental data like UV exposure or the air quality around you. These provide continuous, non-invasive physiological monitoring.
And it goes even deeper than that, right, into our actual biology.
Yes, exactly, into what we call big biological data. This is a comprehensive, layered biological snapshot. It includes multi-omics data. Now that's things like your genomics, your complete genetic blueprint. Transcriptomics, which genes are actively being expressed. Proteomics, the proteins those active genes produce. Metabolomics, the chemical byproducts of your body's processes. And even microbiome data, the unique ecosystem of bacteria living within you. AI algorithms are absolutely crucial here for uncovering complex, often hidden relationships between these molecular mechanisms and your health outcomes, making probabilistic predictions about future risks too.
Wow. Okay, that's a profound level of insight. That goes way beyond, just counting steps on a fitness tracker. What other data streams complete this intricate picture?
Then we integrate behavioral data. So natural language processing, NLP, analyzes your digital communication. But importantly, for sentiment and tone, not the content itself, it's looking at the emotional landscape of your interactions. Then you have calendars, location services. These reveal patterns in your social behavior, your routines, your habits. These layers give crucial context to all that biological and physiological data. It helps paint a holistic picture.
Okay, so the real power then must come from combining all these different sources together.
Absolutely, that's the key. Instead of a generic alert like, oh, you slept poorly last night, ALAI could correlate your poor sleep from wearables with, say, late-night work emails it detected using NLP, a looming project deadline in your calendar. That's behavioral data, and maybe even a subsequent spike in cortisol levels picked up by advanced biosensors. This deep integrated pattern recognition allows for far more powerful and precise interventions, like suggesting a hard stop for work activities to preserve restorative sleep before burnout actually sets in.
This sounds incredibly dynamic. So it's not a static program, right? It continuously evolves.
Exactly. Your life is dynamic, so ALAI is built on adaptive AI. It's designed to continuously learn and adjust its behavior based on real-time data and your unique evolution. It's context-aware, it adapts instantly, kind of mirroring the human capacity for learning and growth.
So it's constantly getting smarter about me, specifically?
Yes, precisely. Using techniques like reinforcement learning to optimize its suggestions through, well, trial and error. But, and this is a really important but, what exactly is it optimizing for? A simple adaptive system might just optimize for engagement, right? Keeping you hooked. But that could inadvertently lead to some pernicious feedback loops if the engaging content is actually harmful to your well-being long-term. And this brings us to a critical design principle. ALAI's algorithms are not optimized solely on immediate user behavior. Not at all. Its objective function is rigorously tied to those external holistic metrics, the 7 dimensions of human flourishing we talked about earlier. So if a short-term behavior, like, say, distracting yourself from procrastination by scrolling social media, if that actually harms your long-term financial stability or your mental health, AI is designed to self-correct against that immediate impulse. It acts as a wise long-term partner, not just a reactive tool catering to fleeting desires.
That's a crucial distinction, really important. So it's not just recognizing raw data points, it's making human sense of them for you.
That's exactly where the pattern lexicon comes in. It's quite an interesting concept. It's a dynamically evolving taxonomy, like a dictionary, of named, human understandable life patterns that the AI identifies. So instead of just raw correlations, it classifies a recurring set of events into a conceptual category, a named pattern.
Ah, okay. Like turning poor sleep, increased caffeine intake, decreased productivity right before a deadline, turning that into a recognizable concept like the pre-deadline burnout spiral.
Exactly that. Or recognizing maybe declining social invitations coupled with increased passive media consumption as the social withdrawal cascade. This transforms complex AI-driven data into actionable human wisdom. It gives you a language, a vocabulary to understand and name, and ultimately manage the often subtle intertwined patterns of your own life.
But with such deep insight, how can you genuinely trust these insights, especially if it feels like they're coming from a black box AI?
That's where explainable AI, or XAI, is absolutely foundational, not an add-on. It's core. It makes the AI's decision-making transparent. It tells you why a recommendation is being made. And this fosters trust, naturally, but it also empowers you to give better feedback because you understand the underlying logic.
Okay, so it's not just telling me what to do, but crucially why it's suggesting it.
Precisely. AI wouldn't just say go for a walk. It would say something like, a 30-minute walk is recommended for this afternoon.
Yeah.
And then it adds the why. Our analysis shows consistent moderate physical activity between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. correlates with a 20% improvement in your deep sleep quality that night. It can even show counterfactual explanations like what would have needed to be different for another outcome or recommendation.
And that explanation itself becomes an intervention, isn't it? It's part of the process.
That's the key insight.
Yes.
By transparently explaining the why, AI effectively teaches you the underlying mechanics of your own well-being. Over time, you internalize these causal links. You start making choices based on your own understanding, not just because the AI prompted you. So the ultimate measure of XAI's success here is actually its ability to make itself redundant by building your self-awareness and your autonomy.
Okay, this isn't just theory anymore. The framework describes some really concrete ways AI could transform different aspects of our lives. Let's start with how we learn and develop.
Right. AI could serve as a personalized, lifelong educational companion. That's the vision. It builds a dynamic profile of your unique learning style, your pace, your strengths, your weaknesses. And then it creates adaptive learning paths that address immediate knowledge gaps. And crucially, align with your deeper career aspirations and maybe even your life purpose.
That tailored approach sounds incredibly powerful, moving way beyond a one-size-fits-all curriculum. How does AI ensure these adaptive paths don't just fill skill gaps, but genuinely align with, a user's deeper goals?
Well, it does that by connecting the dots. It can integrate with platforms like Coursera, for instance. It can analyze real-time labor market data to see which skills are actually in demand. And then it proactively recommends courses or specific modules that fit. So imagine, say, a marketing manager wanting to transition into data analytics. AI could map out a personalized micro-learning pathway, starting with foundational statistics, moving to hands-on projects, and it motivates them by showing how each completed module brings them tangibly closer to a specific leadership role they've identified as a goal.
That's incredible for professional growth. Okay, what about our health and well-being? How does it work there?
There, AI acts as a constant architect of your well-being, shifting from reactive healthcare waiting till you're sick to truly proactive. It uses that continuous monitoring to detect really subtle deviations from your personal baseline, early signs of stress, anxiety, maybe burnout. It can even pick these up from subtle vocal biomarkers, things like changes in the pitch, tone, and rhythm of your voice.
Wow, that sounds like a seriously powerful early warning system, catching things way before they escalate.
It is. And beyond just detecting pathology, problems, it delivers personalized, positive psychology interventions. So when stress is detected, it might offer guided mindfulness exercises tailored to you. It could prompt you with gratitude journaling, perhaps, or even deliver cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT techniques via a conversational agent to help reframe negative thoughts.
Right. Like in that public speaking example from the research, if your wearable detects an increased heart rate and maybe your journal entries show anxiety, ALAI could identify the performance anxiety pattern, explain it to you using XAI, and then suggest, say, a 5-minute box breathing exercise that its data shows has worked well for you specifically in the past.
Exactly. And then afterwards, crucially, it might nudge you to reflect on maybe just one thing you did well during the presentation, fostering resilience, helping you reframe the experience positively, regardless of the immediate outcome.
Okay, what about our relationships? Social connections, that's such a vital part of flourishing, but it's so complex.
Yeah, very complex. Here, ALAI could function as a confidential relationship coach. Now, with your explicit consent, of course, it analyzes communication patterns in your digital interactions. Again, importantly, not the content itself, but the dynamics, the emotional tone. And even recognize conflict patterns, like the famous Gottman research identified that criticism stonewall loop pattern.
So it could potentially spot unhealthy communication patterns in my text messages with someone?
Precisely, if you grant it permission. And then it could privately suggest maybe reframing your concern, perhaps using nonviolent communication principles, or even allow you to practice difficult conversations in a simulated environment first to build confidence. And beyond conflict, it combats social isolation too, by intelligently nudging you towards real-world connections, maybe identifying a local hiking group that aligns with your stated interests and past positive well-being boosts associated with nature.
Finally, it seems like ALAI can also help us understand the bigger picture, right? Beyond just our individual lives. How does it provide that systemic lens you mentioned?
It does. ALAI can act as a kind of personalized policy and media analyst. It helps you understand how new economic policies might specifically impact, say, your local job market. Or it can deconstruct media bias using NLP to compare how different news sources frame the same event, helping you recognize your own filter bubbles.
How does that translate to understanding huge global challenges like climate change, making them feel less abstract, more real?
It makes them deeply personal. That's the goal. It can downscale global climate models to predict impacts on your specific region. So, for example, a Floridian could learn about projected sea level rise in their area, and also see how proposed local infrastructure bills could potentially mitigate that, shown with specific probabilities based on models. Then it empowers you. It provides nonpartisan analyses, maybe direct contact information for local representatives. It connects those big global patterns to your local reality and promotes sustainable actions, fostering genuine civic responsibility.
Okay, with such a powerful and frankly intimate tool, it's natural for many people listening to wonder about autonomy. Is this AI taking over my life? Is it making my decisions for me?
That's a critical concern, and rightly so. The foundational principle here is explicitly one of partnership. ALAI is designed to augment, not supplant, human intelligence. That's crucial. It absolutely preserves your autonomy by always presenting multiple options. It encourages your input, your feedback. It functions as an analyzer and a recommender, never the ultimate decision maker. The goal shifts from just maximizing efficiency to actually optimizing human-AI collaboration.
And what about the role of human experts? Therapists, coaches, are they replaced?
No, not at all. That's the human-in-the-loop model. It's essential. For complex or particularly sensitive situations like, say, interpreting signs of severe mental distress or navigating deeply personal relations or challenges, ALAI would be designed to automatically loop in a human professional, a coach, a therapist, combining the strengths of both. AI is data insights and pattern recognition with human empathy and nuanced judgment.
And it's designed, as you said, to make itself redundant, which is still quite counterintuitive for a piece of technology. How does that actually work?
Yeah, it is counterintuitive, but it's a core philosophy. It's achieved through what they call graduated autonomy. So as you internalize these patterns, as you develop greater self-awareness, build your self-regulation skills, the AI's role gracefully recedes. It kind of fades into the background, transforms from being a proactive coach offering direct guidance to a more passive consultant providing information only when you explicitly ask for it. Its ultimate success really is precisely measured by your ability to thrive without its constant guidance, by building your own intrinsic capabilities.
Okay, this level of personal data, it inevitably brings up huge ethical questions. Privacy, potential biases. How does ALAI handle those?
Yeah, absolutely. Ethical considerations aren't an afterthought. They're woven into its very fabric. That's the claim. For privacy, it adheres to the strictest data protection standards out there, like GDPR, the General Data Protection Regulation in Europe. It does this through privacy by design, which means things like data minimization, collecting and processing only what is strictly necessary, robust security, obviously, and clear, informed consent for every single piece of data used. Mitigating algorithmic bias is also absolutely crucial. AI learns from data, right? And if that data reflects existing societal biases, racial, gender, economic annotation, the AI will learn and likely amplify them. So ALAI requires diverse and representative data sets to train on. It needs continuous fairness audits across various demographic groups to check for disparities, and transparency about its limitations, acknowledging where its performance might be less reliable due to, say, data imbalances for certain groups.
And how do we ensure a powerful technology like this truly serves everyone equitably, not just, the wealthy or tech-savvy?
The proposed answer is through participatory AI. This means actively involving end users and affected communities as co-creators. Not just testers, but co-creators. Throughout the entire design lifecycle, from the very beginning, not just asking for feedback at the end, it's a fundamental power shift, really, treating community members as domain experts in their own lived experiences, ensuring the technology is truly built with and for the people it's intended to serve.
Okay, like having a youth advisory council actually shape a mental well-being module for adolescents, making sure it's culturally authentic, addresses their real-world stressors, rather than some external team just guessing what they need.
Exactly like that. That's the ideal. This fosters mutual learning, builds trust, and ensures the technology is fairer, more accurate, and ultimately more trustworthy and effective AI.
So let's zoom out. What does all this mean for the bigger picture, for our economy, our society as a whole?
Well, the framework envisions ALAI not as a job killer, but as a powerful engine for net job creation. That's a bold claim. It suggests it opens an entirely new economic sector, one specifically focused on cultivating human well-being and purpose, potentially adding, they estimate, trillions to the global economy eventually.
Trillions. Wow. Tell me more about that. What kinds of new jobs, new roles are we talking about?
Well, it will certainly spur new hardware, new tools like advanced biosensor wearables that track hormonal markers or maybe even neural activity someday, ambient AI interfaces that subtly optimize your environment for focus or calm, professional human-AI collaboration platforms for coaches and therapists. But it also creates entirely new job roles. Think about AI well-being strategists, people who interpret this complex, fused data for individuals or organizations, eudaimonic data analysts specializing specifically in well-being metrics, not just clicks or sales, human AI collaboration designers focusing on making these interfaces intuitive and trust-building, AI ethics auditors ensuring accountability and fairness, and even roles like pattern lexicon curators, essentially, lexicographers of the human condition in this new digital age, defining and refining those life patterns. It's really about building a human-centric economy around flourishing.
What a profound deep dive we've taken today. Seriously. We've journeyed from the philosophical foundations and, human flourishing, all the way to the intricate data engines powering something like ALA. We've explored its real-world applications across education, health, relationships, even our global awareness, all while trying to keep ethics, partnership, and this vision of a new economy of purpose front and center.
It really is a bold vision, a vision of technology as a truly wise, transparent partner, one dedicated to helping you recognize, understand, and ultimately master the patterns of your own life, moving you decisively toward authentic eudaimonic well-being. That's the hope.
So as you, our listener, reflect on all this, what patterns in your own life would you most want to recognize and understand? If you had this kind of wise, transparent partner by your side, what insights do you think would truly help you appreciate life more deeply? What could lead you towards your own unique flourishing? We invite you to ponder that thought until our next deep dive.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
We'll see you soon.
This is DigitView.